Hi everyone, this is Ashnat Kothari here. So in this particular video, we shall be discussing the indicative solutions for CS1 A for IFoA September 2022 session. So overall, after interacting with students and going through the paper, yes, this paper relative to the previous years was difficult. Specifically, certain questions which we would be, discussing in the video. I recommend regarding, which were the questions where students typically found difficulty in. As per my estimate, pass marks could be again, broadly in the range of 58 plus minus 2, so 56 to 60, with a slightly, I'll say, a biased or downward bias, given that many students did experience difficulty, and yes, certain questions were pretty different. Unexpected, you could say, if you all, use the past year pattern as any proxy to future pattern. I avoid doing so, but in case any one of might have a tendency to use the past questions the way they have given the chapter wise distribution and all, in that case, yes, this paper was slightly different. So before we get started, please do subscribe to our channel so that you all are updated with the latest content we release. We would be shortly releasing the solutions for CS1 B as well. Don't forget to like this video. And also, in case you do observe any sort of numerical error or any sort of other error in the solutions which we have discussed, feel free to let us know through the comments box. We would be going through them. In case we find merit in any of them, we would be pushing in rectification. So the way to go about watching this video is, do make sure to watch the comments section as well. We would be pinning the comment, which might have any sort of rectifications which we are pushing in. So do that as well. And along with that, I would also like to inform you all that we are starting with our new live batches for April 2023 session, be it from IFoA or even the IA session, post December, whenever they are held in 2023. So the first live class is on October 2. Classes are available in live offline, live online, as well as pre-recorded format. All the students are going to get access to all these three without any additional charges. Offline classes are currently being held at Calcutta only. And as for live online or pre-recorded, students from all across the country as well as the world can attend them. Also, for some of who might have certain doubts regarding whether is there any benefit in doing online classes, given that you might have an offline center available as well. So in the past 2 years, more than 90% of our students have been based out of Calcutta. So, it's primarily live online or pre-recorded. So the way we have structured our content, the classes, doubt clearing platforms, so on, it really doesn't matter whether a student, does attend our center in presence or not. Your doubts are gonna be completely clear. Your concepts are gonna be extremely strong regarding whatever topics are there in the papers. So, feel assured about that. And along with that, also just let me inform you all that we are having attractive early bird offers for students who enroll with us before September 30. So these are customized to an individual student depending upon the papers you might have, cleared or attempted so far. So we have various attractive early bird offers. So yeah, that was regarding the classes. Coming back to the paper, so let's quickly glance to the solutions. First question, part one is determining the conditional probability. Second part is commenting on the result. So this is part one. And in part two, we can comment that, whatever is the probability of an accident, for that of a young driver, it's 18 by 7 into that. So it's going to be higher than probability of A itself. Next question number two over here. Again, a lot many questions came in the form of probability, which some of might have been taken aback. So much quantity of questions coming from computation of probabilities, which has not been the case in at least the recent years. So this is question number two. Once you are in a position to describe the random variable, I mean, things become a lot more easier. And you need to recognize this is nothing but geometric type 2. And then these are the answers. Again, in case you observe any sort of calculation error or numerical error, do let us know through the comment section. I have not been able to spend much time in cross-checking the answers so far. So that is the case. Then moving forward to question number three. Again, one of those questions where, somehow students did find difficulty in. Now, first part is commenting on the graph. So if you look at the female dots, I mean, there seems to be very weak correlation, if any, maybe a weak positive correlation. But in case of male else, it's more prominent. If I look at the cross, there seems to be a more stronger positive relation. So that could be the comment. Again, if anyone else has any sort of other comment which might be different from what I have, the IFoA, or the examiners might give you marks for it as long as they find your explanation reasonable. So not always all these questions are black and white in nature. I mean, you could answer it A, you could answer it not A, but you just need to give us, a good supportive reasoning for same. And if the examiners find it reasonable, they would be awarding marks for both the answers. Then part 2 and 3, this is the model using the logit function. Since we need a proportion whose value, we would always want between 0 and 1. This is part 3. And again, this is part 4. Given the structure, I mean, P will always lie between 0 and 1. Question number 4, part 1, verify that the table above specifies a joint distribution of two discrete random variables. So, I mean, all the probabilities are lying between 0 to 1. Check. If you add all of them up, they are coming out to be 1. So that will be the verification of the first part. For part 2 and 3, expectation X is coming out to be 2. You could see also through symmetricity of the distribution of X. When I say distribution, I mean here the marginal distribution of X. For question 3, I can just pick up any combination, show them that, if I multiply these probabilities, it is not same as the joint probability, and therefore they're not independent. Remember, disproving things is always a lot more easier because we just need to take one example and that is sufficient. If that is not holding, then we can easily disprove things. Proving things is the, more difficult one or the more lengthier one in general. Question 5, again, another question where a lot of students struggle coming from GLM. Again, ideally ones, who have gone through the material where, or even ones students, who had gone through our classes, they didn't find that much level of difficulty over here because at least the ones who did go through the material, because there they have described these scenarios. So that was just an application over here as well. So let's quickly glance to the solution. This is the model I have, alpha I plus beta x plus ej plus rk. Again, you could use anything instead of e, r, anything else works. Then part 3, interaction term has been there. Part 2 was nothing but, explanation of all these terms. Part 4, we have a chi-square 19 statistic. The statistic amount to be 224.4. You can compare with the critical values, and nothing is given. You can perform it at 5% significance level. Now remember that by default, if nothing is mentioned, you can perform at 5%. Some of you always have these doubts when you are solving questions from material or past papers that at times they have taken 1%, 0.1%, so on. Thing is, by default, to take it at 5% only. Whatever conclusions come, that hold. In certain cases, specifically, when they're rejecting the test, to show how powerfully we are rejecting the test, even if you're performing it at 1% significance or 0.1%, and if we're being able to reject the test, it just shows the strength of the test. Even at that, small significant level, we are being able to reject the test. That just shows how powerfully we can conclude that H1 is basically what we need to conclude. I mean, we can just, more strongly reject the test, even if you're using a smaller level of significance. So even if you do it at 5%, there is nothing wrong. Don't get confused with that. Next, we have question 6. This was the easier question among the papers, finding the posterior distribution, then is the mean. Third part is expressing it, and you need to find the z. So z is nothing but the coefficient of x bar. This is x bar. This is the coefficient of z. And you can always cross check, the properties of whether z are being satisfied or not. We have 2, 3 properties with respect to how z varies as the other parameter varies. Question number 7. Again, one of those questions where student actually did find a lot of difficulty in. It took me also a couple of, significantly more time just to cross check what I'm doing, whether that makes sense or not, and so on. So question number 7, this is part 1. It's coming out to be 1 minus RP. Part 2, it's coming out to be R into 1 minus P by 1 minus RP. Part 3, what I'm getting over here is this. r into 1 minus p to the power k by 1 minus r into 1 minus of 1 minus p whole to the power k. And then finally, for part 3b, as k increases, this particular required probability decreases. Again, if it's not clear from you overall, you can just take a particular set of values of p, r, and k, and you can just compare the probabilities. Moving forward to question 8, x follow is coming from a uniform 0, v distribution. So probability x less than 1 is 1 by v. Likelihood comes in this format. Again, you go through the solution, you derive it, you'll be getting the desired result, which is nothing but n by r as expected. Part 2 is finding the standard error. So you find the CRLB, take the square root of it. We'll be getting at 0.7097. 99% confidence interval. This comes out. Finally, rejection of H naught in part C. Again, keep in mind for all the questions which are MCQ based, students are not expected to give the detailed solution. They just need to select the correct part. At least this has hold true for all the examinations so far containing MCQ yet. In future, in case there is any change, obviously, we would be updating through our various social media handles or through our, actuarial support groups, which are available on Telegram. Then finally, question number 9. Again, I'll say is relatively easier. Comment on the graph. You can see some sort of, positive correlation taking place over here. And then finally, there needs to be calculations. So let me quickly take you all through the calculations for same. Y is equal to a plus bx. B is coming out to be 0.814554. Again, keep in mind in case any sort of calculation mistake observed, please do let us know through comments section. R square on calculation, it's coming out 41.38%. Part 4 is finding sigma hat square or the standard error, and then the corresponding 95% confidence interval. And part 5, we're going to reject. And then this particular part, let me just take a look at it. Part 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this is from just the earlier part, which I might have missed. Okay, this is from previous question. This is part 5 reject over here, and then finally we have part 6, 7, 8, 9. Not really calculated this over here. It's standard formula which you can compute using the formulas mentioned in the material itself, and you can make go about commenting them. And in part 9, r square is coming out to be 60. So what you need to do is you need to find the adjusted r square and you need to compare that. If the adjusted r square is greater, then definitely the model is better. But if that is not the case, then it is not better. So this was the overall paper. I hope that all of the viewers of this video did find the video useful. Don't forget to like this video, and that's it. Hopefully all of you would be having positive results. Again, results are expected to come out on December 6th. 11:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, or I'll say 6 p.m. UK time. So depending upon the location wherever you are, you can compute the time here. And again, for any of such details, always refer to IFoA website in case there are any sort of changes. Whatever information we might have conveyed through this video, if, in case you're watching this video in future, it might not hold. So always use the IFoA website as the source of truth, not what we speak, not what is there on any other social media handle, any other YouTube channel. I'll say always rely IFA website as the single source of truth, because things might change, and whatever information we might have shared previously at the time of recording of this video, it might not hold true in future. So thanks everyone.